Hello guys! Few days ago I published a Simulacrum AFK version and received so many questions. Some friends say that they failed the AFK because they don't have the same talent duo ID like mine. That is totally a misunderstanding. I want to clarify, all you need is a one divine talent duo with Caspiro and it's good to go. I will explain the details later. And also some friends have questions about how to sustain weapon in Uber boss fight. I will demonstrate in this video later. In past few days, I fine-tuned this build to the Endgame version, and is now a Hexagon warrior. I clear all Uber bosses and can AFK in Blight Regex and Simulacrum with no problem. Can also do all the famous T17 trait like the Abyss or the Titanic and Invigoration Blight. This build is very flexible. Most expensive items have budget alternatives. So today I will not only introduce the endgame setup, but also provide some budget alternative replacement. I helped a friend to build a character from zero to this endgame version yesterday. It costs about 100 each divine. Now he can run T17 straight and do FK with no problem. But you have to craft the gear by yourself, okay? This build is one of the most complicated builds in POE, and I prepared a brief guide today. Hope it will help the new players. Okay, let's start. Now in this setup, we can have 2 million EHP and 200 million DPS. I already removed those luxury items like Talent Jewel or very hard to craft implicit. So I believe this number is everyone can achieve. And basically our defense is based on the block, armor and evasion, up to 56% extra physical reduction and have 4 enduring charge. And this EHP is not yet count in Molten Shield and Physical Convert. So actually we have higher EHP than this number. Okay, so first, the passive tree. Our core item is you must have an elegant hubris with naming Caspiro to get a Supreme Ostentation. The Supreme Ostentation can ignore the attribute requirement. So the number on the talent draw is irrelevant. I know some numbers can provide you minion damage or chaos resist or other useful ability, but I assume if you just randomly buy a jewel on the market, maybe cost 1 divine, and that's enough because we only need the Supreme Ostentation. The other ability is a plus but not mandatory. If you have budget, then of course you can get more minion damage or maybe chaos resist on it. But if you just join this build, you just get a cheapest Caspiro, Elegant Hubris, then you are good to go. Don't spend too much money on the talent jewel. And with the Supreme Ostentation, then we can tattoo every our int, strength, and dex to the elemental resist. So we can cap our resist without flask. Then you can tattoo the rest of the intelligence to minion life or chaos resist. You should prioritize minion life because our minion survivability is also important. And for the strength, you can tattoo with the armor %. And in this endgame setup, we apply a new minion life cluster with the blast rebirth and life from the death. So it will increase our weapon sustain ability. And so we can refund some of the minion life, passive, and mastery on the right hand side. And your AG must upgrade to Mask of the Stitched Demon because it will provide so many life regen for your AG. Basically, your AG should not die anymore. But if you still have AG die problem, which means you may need more minion life on the passive tree. So you can make some nodes on this ray circle place to get more minion life. And if you are like me, like our AG actually never die, then you can try to refund some minion chaos resist on the right hand side here. Because with the Mask of Stitched Demon, we have so many life regen for our AG, so actually we can try to refund those chaos resist. Make sure your AG never die before you do this, because it will require some experiment and fine tune. Okay, and next is the Enemy Guardian gear. As we just mentioned, you should prioritize to get the Mask of Stitched Demon, because your AG life regen is based on this, and it will give your AG about 35% life regen per second. That's crazy, okay? And so your AG can ignore any dot effect like bleeding or poison. The Garb for AG is really good because not only the AG can immune to critical strike, but it will also apply to the character and other enemy weapons nearby them. The implicit, you just take whatever you can get, that is not important. And the grab bind, the implicit, personally I use the elemental weakness, but that is optional and just a nice to have. You can just use a clean one. Okay, for the mercenary, I finally upgrade my mercenary to the Earthshaker with the best combination, with the Endure and Determination. The Endurer will share the Enduring Charge for the allies, so we no longer need to use the Armor Cluster to get Enduring Composure. But if you cannot have this combination, Endure with Determination, then you should still use the Armor Cluster to get the Enduring Charge. And the Determination is a must. If you cannot have Earthshaker, then you can use other two-hand melee mercenary with the Determination, that is also fine. Because the two-hand melee, we want to use the Kingmaker to give us Fortify and more critical strike multiplier for allies, and also the counting strike. This is so powerful, so we must use the two-hand melee mercenary. As you can see, our mercenary setup is used the Doriani prototype, so you should use the Amulet and 2 rings to cap -260 lightning resist. And for the Amulet, you can anoint the Cleansing Sword. It will double the cast resist for your mercenary. So if one of the ring or amulet can have cast resist on it, then you can also cap the cast resist for your mercenary. And for the glove, we use Hand of Heresy. It will excommunicate the enemy, so they cannot deal cast damage. That will help our survivability in T17 map. And the belt use Cohen's Binding. It will convert 25% of the physical damage to fire to nearby enemies. So it will increase our one-shot threshold from the physical damage. And for the boot, I basically just try to give my mercenary immune to bleeding and poison. And when doing the Uber boss fight, you can replace one of the ring to Screaming Terror, so it can help you to sustain the weapon during the boss fight. And for the skills, basically I just upgrade all the gens to Awaken version. On the body armor, we use minion damage, multi-strike, ruthless, increase critical damage, and awaken physical damage level 5 to get an intermediate, and also awaken elemental damage with attack level 5 to immune to reflection damage. When we have the Needle's Wall, then you can also use the increased critical strike on the amulet. I know the Awaken multi-strike is very expensive, but this is also just a luxury item. You can just use the normal version. The DPS is just 12% less. That's not a big deal. You won't even feel the differences. And for the weapon set, we use the automation with Face Run and Molten Shield. And the helmet, we must use the implicit to reduce the mana reservation. I will explain it later. And we suck the Grace and Haste and Flesh and Stone on our helmet with Enlightened level 3. For the shield, we use Awakened Generosity linked with our Precision to cap our minion attack accuracy. And for the boot, we suck our Enemy Guardian here. You must use a level 21 normal version Enemy Guardian. Do not use the smiting version, okay? And we link with Minion Life and Feeding Frenzy. And another Awakened Elemental damage with attack, level 5, to avoid the reflection damage. The reason we use the normal version of Enemy Guardian is because the normal version has 40% more Minion Life. So, because now we are doing T17 straight, they are very hard content. So if you're still using the smiting version, your AG could die very often. So remember to use a level 21 normal version. And our glove, we will use the Tempest Shield and Spirit Offering and Flame Dash and Elemental Weakness Curse. And for the Flask, we use Rumies to cap our block chance, and use the Evasion Flask and the Ruby Flask for more fire resist. And if you have budget, you can upgrade your Chaos Flask to Progenesis. It provides so many EHP, but it's also very expensive. If you don't have budget, you can just use a normal Chaos Flask. That is also fine. Without this Progenesis, I can still run all the T17 Strat and FK in Simulacrum, like my previous showcase. So it's just a luxury upgrade. The Battle Faith is really good. It provides us more damage and also a concentrated ground to provide more life regen and reduce the curse effect on us. That's really good in AFK. But if you are doing the mapping, you can just replace it also with the Ruby Flask to get a Quicksilver and a Life Flask with the Immuted Bleeding. And for our gear, the weapon we use a +2 minion level Mata to give our AG more minion life. But this is also just a luxury item. You can just use a rare wand with minion damage and minion critical strike chance. And for the glove, we use grip with 4 blue sake to convert our physical damage to lightning to utilize the minus lightning mercenary. For the helmet, you must have an Ascen's core with corrupted implicit with mana reservation efficiency. This is the must-have item. This is quite expensive, but you can buy a clean one that is just 4 chaos each, then corrupted by yourself. And for the body armor, we use Strength of Command. You can find any implicit you want on it. For the amulet, we use Uranito's Vow and anoint with Charisma. And if you have enough mana reservation efficiency from jewels or somewhere else, then you can anoint the Revelry's Horde for more minion movement speed. And our shield using the Aegis Aurora. And personally, I use the Corrupt Implicit with block spell damage chance on it. But that is just an optional because you can use a clean one and just use one more passive point to take this 4% chance to block spell damage on a passive tree. Then you can still cap your block chance. So basically, this implicit just saves us 1 passive point. And our ring, we use 2 bone ring with minion damage, attack speed, and you must have the minion movement speed on it. And you also can try to get some life resist and cast resist on it. For the boot, we just also kept our resist and life. For the belt, I prefer to still use the Darkness Enthroned. Many people are asking, can we upgrade to Match Blood? That is an option, but I still prefer the Darkness Enthroned because if we use the Match Blood, we have to find somewhere else to get a minion life leech and blind and toad on hit. So that will make things more complicated and reduce our damage. And when you're doing the Uber boss fight, you can replace one of the bone ring for the Screaming Terror to sustain your weapons. During the Uber boss fight, there are 2 Screaming Terror. One is on my character, and the other one is on my mercenary. So with the 2 Screaming Terror, you can sustain your weapons always on the maximum number. And for the jewels, we must have an excellent hubris with Caspiro to get Spring Ostentation, as we just mentioned. And the number is irrelevant, so stop saying that you failed FK because you don't have a 300 divine jewels. If you have budget, of course you can upgrade your elegant hubris with more minion damage, but with or without minion damage, just about 25% damage delta. So even without any minion damage on the jewel, you can still have about 150 minion DPS, and that is way enough to do all the content and also the AFK. And for the minion damage cluster, we use the Renewal, Vicious Bite, and Rotten Claw. And the minion life cluster, we must have a Blessed Rebirth and combine with Life from Death. So that's our base for minion survivability. And we also use a Red Nightmare with Fire Resist Tattoo to cap our block chance. So you can check the POB to see where I tattoo my Fire Resist. So basically, this jewel can provide you 20% to block attack chance. And I also upgrade Ghastly Eye with a 90% Adorn. It will double the flat damage and the attack speed on your Ghastly Eye. It provides me about 30% more damage. But if you have budget-wise consideration, you can just continue to use the rare Ghastly Eye and get more life and also some on hit and total on hit or some resist. That is also fine. There's no big differences with only 30% damage. And if your mercenary cannot share the enduring charge to you, then you must have used a small armor cluster with enduring composure. And for the bandit, we just kill all to get 1 passive point. And for the Passion, just depending on which situation you are. If you are AFK in Black Ravage or Simulacrum, then I prefer to use the Lunaries and Upper Wrath to immute Burning Ground and also get physical reduction. And if you are mapping, then use the Blight King. And if you are doing the Uber boss, then I will change to Solaris, also the Lasha. And then I will also bring 1 or 2 the Weaving Jar during the boss fight to sustain my weapons. Okay, so I think that's all the information for the setup. And this setup already cost me about 200-ish divine. And I know some friends still want to upgrade to Svalling and Match Blood. If we upgrade to Match Blood, then we don't have the 2 Abyss Jewel on the belt. Then which means we have to sacrifice 2 jewels on our passive to get the Total Unhit and Blind Unhit, which means we will lose more damage. That make me even fail during the Black Ravage. So we only upgrade to the Match Blood if you only focus on mapping. But I still think Darkness in Throne is more comfortable for the AFK and also the Uber bossing. And about the Svalling shield, it has better block chance, but it doesn't have the block recovery. So during the Simulacrum test, I don't think it has much differences compared to Aegis Aurora. So currently I still prefer to use the Aegis Aurora that can provide a better AFK survivability in Simulacrum. And some friends also concerned that if they don't want to do the Abyss trait in KC17, Abyss have very high physical attack, rare monster. Then you can try to replace some of your Ghastly Eye with the suffix of reduce the Abyss monster damage. It provides very good survivability to avoid get one shot by those big physical hit. Other than that, I never been one shot by a big physical hit in T17. I think that's the best fine tune for the Abyss trait. Okay, so the rest of the video will be some showcase about my current trait and some Uber boss fight demonstration.